Ron, I'm so glad you are here for this specific segment right here because we're going to be covering an article that you actually wrote talking about the state of Magic Kingdom and how much of it is behind construction walls. Here from That Park Place, nearly 1/10 of Magic Kingdom, yes, 1/10 is behind construction walls, and Disney's still raising prices. This by Ron from Follow the Bradleys Fun, October 5th, 2025. The former Rivers of America in the Magic Kingdom is now completely behind construction walls, along with a large section of the park. Step into the Magic Kingdom right now, and one thing is impossible to miss. Walls. From the Haunted Mansion in Fantasyland. Haunted Mansion in Fantasyland? Ron, it's Liberty Square.
It's supposed to be Haunted Mansion at the entrance to Fantasyland.
Oh, I see. Though the entirety of Liberty Square, stretching deep into Frontierland, past Tiana's Bite Adventure, formerly Splash Mountain, and finally stopping at Big Thunder Mountain. One long, ugly construction wall cuts through the park like a scar. Some of it is the olden wooden style Disney has used for years, but around the former Rivers of America, the quote new look for construction walls is a chain link fence covered by some berm fabric. It's great. It's show quality standards. At least they won't be here for years, though. So we're all good. Nice. No matter the style, the result is the same. A massive eyesore. In total, this wall stretches the length of 4 to 5 football fields, sealing off what used to be one of the park's most iconic spaces. Guys, 1/10 of this park is behind construction walls. We'll get into the price and valuation of it all. But I just want to go ahead and put this B-roll up right here that really illustrates what is actually happening. This is beyond the construction walls, obviously, but you'll be seeing more walls here, actually provided by Ron himself as well. Ron, what's going on?
Ron's providing the walls now?
No, we're not providing the walls, just the B-roll.
Just the emotional ones. Ron's keeping us all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to be fair to Ron, they need a lot of walls. So.
Okay, so let me. This is an interesting story because the actual acreage behind the walls is apparently, and I've double checked everywhere, and I didn't put this in the story because it almost sounds far fetched, but there's about 62 acres behind the walls, and I believe that stretches all the way into what's going to be Villain's Land. It might be some other setup, so I don't think that's going to be part of the park. Cars Land itself, Piston Peak, is slated to be 14 acres. Now, with the entirety of the park, Magic Kingdom being about 109 acres, that's where you get the math from. It's between 8 and 10% or so of the park.
I see.
It is a tremendously large area. Now, of course, that area was encompassed by the Rivers of America, which means that a lot of that area could never be traversed on foot. It would be on the Liberty Bell, but still it was area that was seen by park goers from the Liberty Bell, from the train, from other things. So it was in fact utilized area. It was not just utilized area, but it was such an important balance to the rest of the park, in the fact that this is where you would go for some rest time during the day, so you don't have to go back all the way back to your hotel. The island, Tom Sawyer's Island, very shaded. There's caves down there, so it's actually you could go into the caves and get cool. The kids could play. There was a little play area up top where you could pretend like you were navigating a ship. It was all very much part of Walt Disney's vision for what he had initially wanted in Disneyland, and then they brought that over to the Magic Kingdom when they opened that. Of course, that was past his passing, but the original Tom Sawyer's Island was literally the only thing designed specifically, completely by Walt Disney himself at Disneyland. It's to my understanding. And so this was a tremendous part of his legacy. And I would never say that this area was ever underutilized. I would simply say that it was unmonetized because you can't throw lightning lane charges back there. But it was, and this is the walls in the front of the TTC. I have never seen so many walls, construction walls specifically, at Walt Disney World, because it's not just like this at the Magic Kingdom. It's also Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom and even Grand Floridian Hotel. And what they're using, you can see the berm right there. There's the berm over like, I guess, chain link fencing. Same thing is used in Animal Kingdom. Now, I have seen this in areas that are not at Walt Disney World, where they've got, as a matter of fact, my local Target, ironically enough, where Cracker Barrel is, there's a section of the parking lot that is walled off, and it uses that same cheap chain link fence with berm over it. That is what's used not only here, but also in Animal Kingdom. It's got the green berm over it, and they keep changing it. I've gone several times, and it's the same construction area, but the walls keep changing to where they're putting up more wood, and maybe they're bringing in more. I don't know, but it's odd, and I mean, this is what it's hiding, so you kind of get that they want to hide this, but there's no way to make any of this good as far as Disney look is concerned. Not to mention the fact that that's all the way from Haunted Mansion over there. I'm looking at the screen pointing like people can see, right? All the way around. It's got to be 3 to 4 football fields, maybe 5 football fields worth of walking all the way around until you get to Big Thunder Mountain. And you know what's a Big Thunder Mountain? A closed Big Thunder Mountain that's also been under construction for almost a year and apparently will not open until last I read was sometime in the spring of 2006. So, wow. And people are still paying full price.
Springtime for anyway.
The Target connection makes sense because didn't Disney Parks and Target do a little bit of a deal there? Culture. I remember the installation of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge back in 2016, 2017, and it was beyond the Rivers of America there, and was very upsetting too. Like the waterways there, the Columbia, obviously, the train, all that had to be rerouted, all had to be moved. It was a lot of impact there for guests and so forth, but I don't remember it being this impactful simply because back then the river was dammed. At least you had the front of it still exposed. Now here, completely walled off by construction walls. Your thoughts, please.
Walls aren't pretty.
No.
Look, to me, when you start to look at the sheer volume of area that Disney is trying to rewrite history with, first of all, it's very sad. You will never be able to experience this area of the park in the right way ever again. And that's a shame. But then I look back at other things we were supposed to be getting massive improvements with, like Epcot, whatever iteration of Project Gamma that actually became, had their budget, slashed to such a degree that major elements that were presented in the public demonstration of what they were going to add never came about, and everything was delivered at a ridiculously low quality and immediately started having maintenance issues, whether you talk about the lights or the sewer smell or any of the other stuff that came along with the walk of water or, pretend Moana or whatever that thing was. It's inspired by like sewer plants, I guess. But anyway, this is going to be a mess for years. That's the other thing nobody's talking about. Right. Disney is not very quick about building things, right, Jonas? Cool beans.
Sorry, I was muted there.
No worries.
No, Disney lost the mojo in 2018. It's the absolute. It's a different company since that point. You would think that Bob Iger taking over the company in 2005, purchase of Pixar 2007, and Lasseter being there until 2018 kept this company going in a way that I think that they took for granted. And then after the exit of Lasseter, for better or for worse, they just lost the plot entirely when it came to these parks, and they're just slowly declining year after year.
Yeah.
It's so profound. And Jonas, I want to go back to you just for a second after reading this little tidbit, and I'll go ahead and have you finish us off here. So with a large chunk inaccessible and guests paying less to get in, are guests paying less to get in? Of course not. Disney is already setting to raise ticket prices again in 2026. Guests are getting less of the park to enjoy. Walt Disney expects them to pay more for the privilege. As for Piston Peak's opening date, Disney isn't saying. Some hopeful fans are guessing 2027, but based on the company's recent track record, 2028 or even 2029 feels like a safer bet. And we've already confirmed that there are increases coming, as this Disney Food Blog chart here points out. This is the base price for Animal Kingdom, but we know that the parks usually follow suit, and you can see right here in the months of like January, February, March, you can see that last column right there is the 2026 pricing, and it's all higher than 2025, and of course from 2024. My question to you, Jonas, is how can Walt Disney World and especially Magic Kingdom justify this higher price tag when you have so much of the park walled off for so many years?
Well, there's two things going on here. One, they are assuming that most people are not aware of this being in the park, or sorry, this not being in the park and those construction walls being up. There's a lot of people that when we talk about the parks, they're talking about how they're excited to go. And if I am cruel enough to bring up the fact that the rivers of America are drained and they've got construction walls up covering this much of the park, they're usually surprised by that. Most people don't check the refurbishment schedule before they go, and they allow themselves to be surprised by it. I've done that before, because one ride being down is not necessarily going to change my entire trip. But in this case, that is a large enough and formerly beautiful portion of the park that I think it does make a big difference, because this affects Country Bear, Haunted Mansion, former Splash Mountain, and Big Thunder Mountain. Just to name a few things, not just the ambiance here. So I think that the company right now wants to get back to a place where they're justifying that premium price point as soon as possible. They're not going to lower prices because the only thing they have to bring back to their shareholders is an increase in per capita spending once people are inside the park. And they can't lower the price across the board. They can't offer wholesale discounts for everybody. They can do it here or there, so that not everybody's aware of it. The people who book through a travel agent and maybe aren't aware of the discounts they could be getting if they, canceled their trip and rebooked it. Not endorsing. Hopefully there's no travel agents out there that are cringing as I point out that you can probably get a discount if you unbook, rebook. Look into it yourself. I think the Disney company right now needs a win on paper more than they need to have people pleased in the park today. They don't want to report to guests to say, we promise it's going to be better. They want to report to Wall Street and say, guys, these are all the headlines. These are the things that we're going to be selling in the future. Don't you want to go ahead and speculate now on the price of the Walt Disney Company stock? No financial advice here, but you would be better just sticking that money in your mattress if you go by past performance. I don't know what future performance is going to be, so nobody say that I said the price is going up or down, but past performance cash has performed better than the Disney stock price.
It is so interesting that you point that out, because it is demonstrable if you look at the stock price. Well, go ahead, Rob.
I have to say this: when it comes to performance, we should also note that entertainment has been slashed across the board. So there are,
Correct.
in fact, a lot fewer performers at the park.
Right.
I don't know if that's performance, but yeah.
No, I agree with that as well, because the cast members and the team members make the day for everybody. That's when you go into the parks. Okay, yeah, there's a nice ride here and there and whatever. If they have a great interaction with a cast member, and I say or a team member because that's what Universal calls their team members, that is the kind of thing that people go home and talk about. They go, oh yeah, the ride was down. People kind of expect that on some level for at least one ride to be down, because they understand you have to repair these things. It happens. But if you can have an interaction with a guest or an Astrid walk around character that has a special moment with your kids, especially the people who are paying for stuff with their kids, that is huge. But it doesn't translate well to telling Wall Street, oh yeah, we got Clive on Main Street and he's real funny. He's just quick on his feet. That doesn't translate well into a Wall Street shareholders meeting. So what they want is a big headline. Oh, we've got the biggest IP of the last 10 years, making sure that it's, 2016, so they can have it as far away as possible from current IPs and say, oh yeah, it's going to be great. Look at all the figures. Don't look at any of the fan sentiment on X or on Instagram about this.
Yeah, I mean,
just a quick note too about the walls. In the past, and I'm sure that anybody here can verify this, in the past, almost, I want to say 90% or more of the signs that were on the walls letting you know that the construction was going on were quotes from Walt Disney. It's fun to imagine the impossible. It's fun to do the impossible. Those types of things. Now, I know that there are some like this, and there's some, but the signs are getting weird. I saw one sign on a wall at Animal Kingdom. I think you have a picture of it somewhere, but it just literally just says "change is good," and I'm like, that's the most arbitrary. First of all, not all change is good. There's been some changes that have been horribly bad in the past. So change for change's sake is not good. Improvement is good, but who's to say that anything that they're doing is going to be an actual improvement? I don't know. And the biggest challenge is faith in Imagineering today versus what it used to be after what they've given us the past several years. And Culture, I think, pointed it out. There'd been a lot. Epcot, they didn't even finish all the things that they were supposed to do in Epcot. And they're like, okay, we're done. We're just going to move on. And it's just bizarre.
Culture, I don't want to leave you out here. Quickly, wrap us up.
Change is not always good. Walls are always bad. And I'm tired of the parks looking like this every single year. It's
really bad, and I think Jonas keyed in on a real interesting point there. When it comes to the Cars franchise, you have to remember Cars, when it originally came out, was in 2006 to next year. And by the way, it'll take many more years than next year for Piston Peak to actually open, but that'll be 20 years old. So good luck, Disney. You're going to remove Rivers of America for what you believe is a timeless IP. I'm not so sure.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.